You're listening to the Align to Amplify podcast. Now, here are your hosts, Sarah and Haley.
Welcome to Align to Amplify. I am Sarah Garrison. I'm an intuitive business healer. I help you feel more comfortable in your business.
I'm Haley Lewis. I'm a brand accelerator and executive creative advisor. I help you be seen in your business.
So today,
I'm laughing and I'm hesitant. I'm holding my breath because I'm so unsure about this one.
Just a minute, I gotta fix my hair. That's how nervous I am. I gotta fix my hair. Okay.
I need like some a comfort animal or something.
We should have like our water here so we can like. Today, we are gonna talk conspiracy theories.
Oh no. So when I came in today, I'm like, okay, Sarah, because like we seriously don't have strategy. We don't have a list of topics. We don't have anything. And since this is just one of our like coffee chats or whatever, I'm like, well, do you have any ideas of what you want to talk about today? And she's like, no. And I'm like, we should talk conspiracy theory. And she's like, okay. And I was totally joking. So yeah, let's get into it. I'm going to ask you, Sarah, right now, what is your favorite conspiracy theory?
Oh, goodness. Well, it's not a conspiracy theory anymore.
Oh yeah. Is it just spoiler alerts?
Spoiler alert. It's not a conspiracy theory anymore.
What was it?
UFOs.
Okay, so I love that.
I mean, maybe it's not my favorite. There are so many that I absolutely love. But when I really think about, like, I almost feel vindicated because this conspiracy theory has been not a theory anymore. But I've seen UFOs, and I have, and here's the thing. So, you know, we're in the age of like recording devices everywhere. My experiences were when I was a teenager, and these things didn't exist. You didn't just carry around a camera with you everywhere you went.
Right.
Like, it didn't exist. And so, like, all of mine, I wish I could have photographic evidence because, like, it was real and it was in your face experiences.
Okay. Okay. So let's back up here. Tell me, oh my gosh, we have never, ever talked about this before. And now I got to know your story. You've got to tell me your UFO story.
I get two of them.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Just dive in. I'm just going to, where's my popcorn?
So, when I was a kid, we used to go on these campouts in Eastern Oregon all the time. I'm not going to be able to say the name right, but it was out near Maupin.
That's
Madras.
That's Central Oregon.
Yeah. There's a dam there and a lake. It's Lake Simitustus or something like that.
Like Billy Chinook?
Nope. Not Billy Chinook. It was on an Indian. It's on an Indian reservation.
Okay. Well, there's other things about. Oh, now you're bringing in the native. Things. There's okay.
Okay. Well,
it totally makes. Okay.
This
keep going.
This is the first one. So we are out literally in the middle of nowhere. There's a lake, and I'm a kid. I'm a teenager. I'm hanging out with all the other boys. You know, I'm a girl. You know, there's a couple of us girls, but like we hang out with the boys. We go out in the middle of the night to the dock. And we're all looking up at the stars and we're talking and joking. And from the horizon, this thing comes up over the horizon. Now it's way far out there. So it's not like close or anything. It's way far out there. This thing comes up over the horizon. And it's a circle with lines going out. So it's like a circle going over with the lights are flashing outward like this. Like classic UFO that you'd see in the movies, sort of UFO. And it goes from one side. So when we first see it, I'm like, that's weird. And it goes across, and I swear it went all the way across the sky above us, all the way over to the other horizon. So from one horizon to the other, it went. And we watched it for probably 15, 20 minutes, just flying across. And originally when we first saw it, I was like, I don't know what this is. This could be an airplane, you know? And one of the boys there was like, that's an airplane. That's an airplane. I don't know. And one of the other boys was like, oh my God, that's a UFO. And I'm like, I think it is a UFO. And the other boy was like, no, that's an airplane. That's an airplane. Blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, airplanes don't they're not circle. Like
Were there
literally-
blinking
yeah.
lights on it like an airplane would have? Because
No, there was like a ring circle around the outside, and then there were like lines that went out.
so there wasn't the blinking.
There wasn't a blinking like
Because that's what our aircraft have to have.
Yeah.
Is those blinking lights.
no, it had blinking lights, but not like what you would, it was blinking in a circle. It was a circle blinking. It was circle. It was not like an airplane where there's a dot here,
No
a
wings,
dot here, a dot.
no tail,
Yeah.
no nose. It was a
It was a
round. It was
circle.
circle, like
It
a
was a circle.
frisbee.
And yes, and it was way up, so high up in the sky that if it was an airplane, it would just be a blinking light. Like we could literally see the circle of this thing. So whatever it was huge. Went all the way across. And if it just happened for a moment, it would have been one thing. But it literally went all the way across the horizon to the other side. And I was like, oh my gosh, we just saw a UFO. And this other boy's like, no, it wasn't. It was an airplane. You guys are all crazy. That was an airplane. Or we're telling everyone it's an airplane because I'm not going to let anybody think I'm crazy. And I'm like, dude, they can think I'm crazy.
Did you tell your parents?
I don't remember. It was so long ago. I was like 13 or 14 years old when this happened. Fast forward. Now, forward. Okay.
She has another UFO story.
I have another one. Fast forward. I was like 16 or 17. I was working fast food. I worked at a fast food restaurant. I worked the drive-through of a Carl's Jr. And I always worked the late shift. I was always the closer. So it was like 11:30, 12 o'clock at night. I think. I don't remember. Maybe I didn't work that. But it was pitch black outside. Let's just put that. It was dark outside. And, someone rolls up to the drive-thru and I'm like, hi, welcome to Carl's Jr. How can I help you? And he goes, you need to go outside. And I said,
I don't think so.
can I get you some food? And he's like, no, I'm serious. Just step outside. And I'm like, and he goes, listen, just walk to a window and look up. And I was like, okay. So I walked to a window and there's this huge glowing orb above the Carl's Jr. Like literally sitting above the Carl's Jr. And
What?
I was like, I said,
Here in town.
in town.
The one over.
This one was on 148th and Division.
Okay.
The one right next to the Fred Meyer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I know where that one is. Okay.
Sorry if you don't live in the Gresham area. I
Portland
apologize.
metropolitan area. Yeah.
And I was like, I said over the phone, I said, oh my God. And he goes, yeah, I know. He's like, you're seeing what I'm seeing, right? And I said, yeah. And we had people working the grill. I'm like, you guys, you have to come see this. And so we all ran outside and we looked up and there's this glowing circular orb thing that's like pulsating with light over the top of the Carl's Jr. and it starts floating away. And it's just like floating. I don't know how to explain it. It's just floating away and it floats down the street and then it just disappeared. It just disappeared. It was just gone. And I'm like, I turned to the people next to me. I said, you saw that, right? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, what the hell was that? And nobody could explain it. And the next day on the news, they said that there was a weather balloon that went down Division Street.
Okay. Oh, okay.
And I'm sorry, but that did not move like any balloon. Weather balloons, they're not lit up, are they? I don't know. Like, it was one of those experiences. It was so surreal, and it was so in my face. Like, I could have reached out and touched the damn thing. It was so close.
So here comes back to my whole marketing PR background. Why is the weather balloon always the cover-up story? It's seriously like textbook cover-up story.
Yeah, and that's exactly what went through my mind is, okay, great. Thanks, Roswell, New Mexico.
It's like, it's time to come up with a better narrative because, I'm sorry, Roswell ruined the weather balloon story for me.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I just can't.
No.
I can't believe it.
No.
But, okay.
Oh, I did. I got to tell you one other thing. I
Okay.
did visit during my trip Roswell, New Mexico.
Oh,
Because I'm a
yeah.
big UFO nut, and I'm like, I got to go there. I got to see this. Okay. I'm a very sensitive person to like energies and stuff. I woke up. So I camped about 15 miles outside of Roswell. And I woke up and my eyes bothered me. So I was like rubbing them a little bit. By the time I got to Roswell, my eyes had turned bright red. I felt like I was having an allergic reaction to something. And I was dizzy constantly.
Whoa.
And I don't know what happened. As soon as I was about 30 miles out. So I stopped and got breakfast because I thought, well, maybe I'm hungry. Maybe there's something to, like, I stopped and got breakfast. I stopped and got eye drops to help. Like, maybe I'm having an allergic reaction to something in the air. I don't know. Ate to help maybe with the dizziness. Still dizzy after I ate. So it wasn't that I was low blood sugar or anything like that. Got the drops. And nothing, it did not fix it at all. It wasn't until I was about 30 miles outside of Roswell that my eyes started to clear up and I never had the issue again. So I don't know what the heck is going on in Roswell, New Mexico, but there's something energetically that like messed with me.
It's the energy of the big lie.
The big lie.
So I was going to tell you really quick. I saw something with Max. We came out of his like back to school night when we had just moved here. So I would say it was probably, well,
Was he in elementary school?
he was in elementary school. And
Knowing he's 25 now, that was quite a while ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We walk out from back to school night and like people are standing in the parking lot and they're all looking up. And so we look up, there's two lights in the sky. Mm-hmm. And at first, because we're in the airplane path or whatever you call that.
Yeah. The flight path.
The flight path. So I'm like, that's just planes. But as we kind of like, let's go, like, come on. And I was like, what is that? What is that? They were just bright lights, no flashing lights, just two bright lights, not moving.
Ooh. Just
not moving. Seriously, not moving.
Okay.
And I'm like, and Max is like, is that a UFO? Because people are standing, pointing, we're watching it. Mm-hmm. And I'm just like, I'm a frantic mom, just like, hey, let's get home. It's late. We got to, bath time and bedtime. Like, let's go. Yeah. And I'm just kind of pushing it in the back of my head, like, oh, there's no way kind of thing. So get home, go to bed, get up in the morning. My friend posts on Facebook a news article that they scrambled jets and chased two unidentified flying objects over St. John's and over and out toward the Pacific. That was in the news the next day. And I'm like, is that what we saw? And it was clearly something that they scrambled it and they couldn't identify what they were. So they weren't, I guess they did say they were UFOs, but they just said unidentified. They didn't know what it was, but they basically chased it. They scrambled them and they chased it out toward the Pacific. Yeah. And then it was gone. And then that was like the end of the story. So there was no follow-up. I never saw anything. And I'm like, oh. Yeah. So I don't know. And then, I just have one other story. So in our house, we have what we call the corner of mystery. And in that corner of mystery, we have a framed photo of a UFO. And on the back, we have the taped negatives of the photo that's on there. And with a handwritten note. So this photo was taken down in Northern California, just outside of Sacramento, taken by a friend of my husband's parents. And in the envelope with the negatives, it said these were submitted to Life magazine, and they rejected them because they thought it would scare the population, the public. So they never printed them back in like the early 60s.
So why now? That's my question. Why is the government just now coming out and saying UFOs are a real thing? So, like, there's stories.
Well, there's whistleblowers.
There's whistleblowers, and there's a famous picture of the White House with UFOs surrounding it that's real.
Oh, that was like from the 50s.
That was, the
right?
40s or 50s,
Yeah.
like where there was UFOs, like, and it created this huge panic. And the story ended up getting buried, but it really happened.
Well, that
So-
was like post World War II. Mm-hmm. And they were trying to, say it was for security reasons. It could have been a foreign government, blah, blah, blah. But, I don't know. Is it because we have the phone in our pocket that has the capability of capturing these things? Is it the whistleblowers that are coming out that are from military, whistleblowers that are saying, I worked here, this is what my job was, and this is what happened? Is there some kind of easing the public into a knowledge that they've known about for a long time? There's a lot to be discussed about that, and we don't know. We honestly don't know. But did you hear about the Las Vegas sighting just like a few months ago?
I heard about that, where they were it was like all over Vegas. Yeah.
And cops were called in, and I don't know if the ship crashed in somebody's backyard, and they were like 7 feet tall, and you're like, okay, like, is that how can this be, like, really? And then I'm like, well, and when the police are like kind of collaborating it, like, yeah, there was something there, but they couldn't find anything, like, it's kind of a little unsettling, but it's also kind of really exciting that maybe the truth will really come out at some point, like soon.
Well, so there's a long history, and this gets into my line of work-ish, kind of, sort of. I say I help business owners. I bring in the woo into the helping the business owners, and I've read a lot of information about things that more have a spiritual bent and more of an energetic bent. And, I use that when I help business owners gain clarity in their business, is I use that spiritual and that energetic side of things. And so there's a history of people receiving information from foreign agents, from like outside foreign agents. That's a good way of putting it. It is believed that extraterrestrials can speak to us telepathically, that's their form of communication.
I think I've heard
and
stories like that.
There's this great show on Gaia called Deep Space that I highly recommend anybody watch. First of all, it talks about conspiracy theory that it was actually the Germans that got the download from, the Germans got a hold of the information. I don't know, like, there's a big long story behind it, but that they developed the saucer-like UFO that we see out there, and that they actually have a secret base in the Antarctic to develop this technology. And after World War II, they were down there. So this is like a whole conspiracy theory in the Gaia show. But the information was actually gathered by it being shared telepathically to a human from an extraterrestrial. So that's one piece of this conspiracy. Another piece of it is there is this belief that there is this group called the Pleiadians that are here to protect us from ourselves. And so if you were to go out and like search Google, like YouTube, you'll see there's videos of this white light showing up every time that there's supposed to be like some nuclear test or whatever. And it always gets botched. Like, and it's believed, and based on telepathic information received from extraterrestrials, you can believe it or not. I know, yeah, it's up to you. Take it for what it is. But it is believed, based on that information, that it's the Pleiadians protecting us from ourselves so we don't annihilate ourselves. Because this planet that we live on, which now will put into everybody's question on religion, so it just like it blows this whole thing. But this planet that we're living on is actually we are part of lots of different we're almost like an experiment sort of thing that's part of a lot of different alien technology. So here's my thing when you talk about that, and I've had this discussion with my family and with other people is, and I don't want to slip into religious conversations, too deep, but when we talk creation and God created Adam and then and Eve, and it's not super off topic if you were to talk about us being an experiment. If you were to look at, God creating us, gene splicing, that biological technology, the missing link. Like, if you brought God into the missing link, creating man from that, I can totally see the correlation. And then also bringing it back to, if that was something like that, and then being a Christian that I am, and this is the conversation that I've always had with my kids, is like, if Jesus Christ came back for the second coming and he landed in a spaceship, would it rupture your testimony of Jesus Christ? Because it wouldn't mine. It'd be like, okay, I thought he was going to float down on a cloud, but whatever. The fact that he's in a spaceship, maybe, it's just his method of transportation. It doesn't change the divinity that I hold for him. So, yeah. So, I know it's controversial, but there's the thought process there that if that's how it happened, that the second coming was ushered in with some kind of alien invasion. Okay, I know it sounds weird when I say it out loud, and Christ steps out of the command ship, and every knee would bend. Because that's what's going to have to happen during the second coming. Like, I could totally see it. So it's very interesting when you mix in religion with this idea of aliens, and I, even from my own viewpoint, so like it's also believed that Earth is hard mode. like what do you mean? Like the extraterrestrials, they are on a different level than we are. So they can see things in 5 dimensions versus 3 dimensions. And so they're like physically on a different level than we are. And 3-dimensional space is hard mode. And so we're here living in hard mode, and the aliens are just making sure we don't kill each other in the process of going through this, whatever it is. But that's different conversation. But when you start mixing in this religion with the UFOs and a lot of the information that has come out, and the downloads and the downloads, I call them downloads when you receive information telepathically from a different source. Whether you believe in telepathy or whatever, that's on you. Like, you believe what you want to believe. This is just what I have experienced and where my life has been. But it can feel messy trying to blend the two of them. But really, if you think about it, my belief, I'm Christian as well. I believe there's a creator of all. What that creator looks like could be different for everybody. And the aliens, extraterrestrials, whatever you want to call that other stuff that doesn't live on Earth, I believe that they know of this creator as well. They know of this larger thing that has existed that created all that is. Creator energy is pure love energy. It's how, in my mind, a lot of things happen. It's how the magic happens in this world. And I believe that this, even knowing that UFOs exist and all this fancy technology exists, I still feel like, to me, that doesn't rock my belief structure. Even the idea of Jesus doesn't rock my belief structure, because I believe Creator wants to have a relationship with us. And if you look at the Bible, we'll use that as an example. You look at the Old Testament, people are screwing up left and right. And he's like, okay, fine, just go sacrifice a goat, go sacrifice a lamb. Go, he's just like, just do the thing. Let's wash it clean and start over again. And we'd do that, and then we'd screw up all over again. He's like, so I created these laws. You guys aren't following the laws. I got to fulfill the laws so that we can just have a relationship. That's why I believe that, Jesus is there, is so Creator could have that relationship. Now, do you have to believe the way I believe to have that relationship? I don't think so. But see, I'm not.
I think it's a personal journey for everybody.
I'm not a typical Christian. I just know Creator wants to have that relationship, and that, because of that structure right there, that belief in me, I can accept all these other pieces coming into play. I can understand that we have, and I also understand that, like, hiding the concept of UFOs and alien extraterrestrials causes they didn't want widespread panic. They didn't, and there's a sense of control. Like, they can, like, I think that the reason why it's coming out now is there's some control, there's some other thing going on behind the scenes, and they just want to control the narrative, and they want to control the information.
There's something more worse that they're distracting us from.
Well, I mean, I feel like when the government comes out and says that, I feel like, okay, what politically is going on behind the scenes? Right. But then we go into a whole nother conspiracy theory.
So back to UFOs.
Mm-hmm.
So I watch AJ at the Y-Files. Have you heard of the Y-Files? Okay, look up the Y-Files.
Oh, is that where he's talking about to the little fish?
Yes, Hecklefish.
Yes. Okay.
So he did an episode just recently about, like, inner Earth, and so my husband and I, we were discussing this, like, okay, like, what if these UFOs aren't coming from another part of the universe or galaxy or whatever? What if it's actually earthbound, but a civilization that we are unfamiliar with?
Oh, is this the under the earth people?
The
hollow
earth,
hollow earth concept?
Because they've been, the UFOs, they've been recorded coming out of the water and going into the water.
But hollow earth,
and coming out of, like, Mount Shasta and going back into Mount Shasta. Oh. Now, Admiral Byrd, way back in the 50s or whatever, right after World War II, he was serving over the Arctic North. And he did report looking down and seeing a civilization. Now, there was, like, this supposed journal entry that discussed this whole interaction with people from there, but that ended up being debunked. It's fake. But he did see, and I've seen the interviews where he, talks about how he looked down and he saw something that shouldn't be there. But then right after that, that's when he went on the exploration to the Antarctica. Oh, gosh. And then all of the big, the big navies of the big countries all went down there. And then in the 1950s, they put out that big, treaty, like worldwide treaty that wouldn't be explored, it wouldn't be drilled, it wouldn't be capitalized for its natural resources. It's like autonomous, like no country can claim it. It's like, what did they find down there? What did they find? And is there a civilization down there or whatever that wants to remain anonymous and wants autonomy?
Well,
so it's interesting.
That's part of that conspiracy theory about the Germans having a base down in Antarctic, and that they had such strong firepower that nobody knew how to handle it. So that was part of that conspiracy theory. Well,
it's interesting, and we're bumping up against the end, but
We could keep going. Like, just talking about aliens. I mean, there are so many other conspiracy theories we could have talked about in here. We just spent an entire episode talking about UFOs and extraterrestrials and all the weird woo-woo stuff that comes along with it.
And then we talked religion, and then we talked the
A
weird
little
stuff
bit
with
government,
Hollow Earth.
yeah.
And
Oh, I wonder how the flat earthers feel about the hollow earth concept.
I saw this thing that says, like, how many members that Flat Earth has around the world. And I was like, oh, you poor people. I'm so sorry. But there is, okay, we're going to have to talk about Flat Earth at some point because there's some compelling stuff. And I'll have to do my research and have to come in with, double barrels loaded because I laugh at it because I don't believe in it. But it's kind of compelling and eye-opening. Some of the stuff that they do.
I wonder if we could get a guest that believes in a flat earth.
I'd like, okay, so we're looking for that. I would love Bigfoot.
Oh, a Bigfoot guest.
So we have people here, and we have the Bigfoot Museum.
We do.
That's just right down the street. And
Bigfoot's a big deal here in the Pacific Northwest.
Yes.
Like, if you don't believe in Bigfoot and you live in the Pacific Northwest, I think you're almost looked at kind of weird.
Yeah. It's kind of, it's not conspiracy here. It's just fact.
It's just everyone believes that it's exists.
We have a Bigfoot plaster cast in our corner of mystery at our house.
Oh, that's awesome.
With the photo of the UFO. And so wrap it up with that UFO photo. You can see it, and then you can see the dust devil of the dirt underneath being whipped up.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Underneath of it. It's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool little thing. But
Yeah.
anyway, I think we can wrap it up. But yeah, let us know.
If you're a flat earth believer, you're a Bigfoot researcher. I don't know what the right word.
Okay, have you seen Bigfoot? Have you seen a UFO?
Yeah, have you seen a UFO?
I want to hear your stories because
or if you have any good juicy conspiracy theories that we could talk about.
Yeah, what should we conspiracy theory next?
Yes,
because
that would be fun.
That would be really fun. And if you know an expert, we'd love to get them in the studio or stream them in because we're definitely not experts in the conspiracy theories. We dabble in them and they're kind of interesting.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I kind of am really into the UFO stuff. Well, obviously, I mean, like I've read a lot.
You are, but I'm not an expert. So
I'm not an expert. I'd love to have an expert on that.
Oh my gosh, wouldn't that be
I would
great?
love to have somebody that comes in and debunks it. Like tells me why I'm so crazy.
Well, that's why I like the Y-Files because he's a debunker. But there's a couple. We need to talk about the moon at some point because there's some funky stuff about the moon.
Can we talk about the moon landing?
That's part of it. Yes. So,
Okay.
There's way more to come.
Yes.
We just barely started this conversation.
Oh, goodness. And so tune in next week. See what we have to talk about next week. It might be more of this or it might be something completely different. Who knows?
All right. We'll see you then. Thanks.
Bye.